Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast For the Love of Drama. I am Fiona, and today, continuing talking about mystery thrillers, I thought, as I had discussed Sleuth 1972 last week, I will talk about Sleuth 2007. Apologies, I talked about Sleuth 1972 on Monday. So I would like to talk about Sleuth, the film from 2007, starring Michael Caine as Andrew Wyke, the older actor this time, whose part was played in the 1972 film by Laurence Olivier. And the actor that plays Milo Tyndall, his younger rival in this film, is played by the brilliant Jude Law. So, this film has similar themes to the original 1972 Sleuth, but seems even darker and more disturbing. The plot is a dark, psychological cat and mouse game between two men, Andrew Wyke, Michael Caine, a wealthy, aging mystery novelist, and Milo Tyndall, a struggling actor who is having an affair with Wyke's wife. The film is an adaptation of Anthony Shaffer's stage play, directed by Kenneth Branagh, and also with a reworked screenplay by Harold Pinter. Andrew Wyke is a successful mystery author and invites his wife's younger lover, Milo Tyndall, to his futuristic high-tech mansion. To start with, Milo believes he has been invited to Andrew's house to finalise a divorce settlement. However, Andrew has other plans. He proposes a devious game in which Milo will stage a robbery of Maggie's jewels from the house. In exchange for this, Andrew says he will give Milo the money he needs to keep Andrew's wife in the style that she is accustomed to. The elaborate plan is actually a trap. When Milo attempts the robbery, Andrew reveals that the jewels are fake and humiliates Milo, showing him how he can be manipulated, and also reveals that he has multiple hidden cameras in the house, recording the whole interaction, leaving Milo with no way to defend himself. No way to defend himself against Andrew's intellectual and emotional cruelty. But, however, he has his revenge. Or does he? Months later, Milo returns to the mansion under a disguise. He pretends to be an intimidating rival figure and reveals that his humiliation has fueled his own desire for revenge. The final confrontation is when the two men's rivalry escalates into a brutal and violent confrontation. The psychological games continue to twist, blurring the lines between who is the predator and who is the prey. The film's conclusion is a stark and sinister twist on the ending of the original play and 1972 film version, resulting in a different outcome for the two men. My own thoughts on this film. Michael Caine is one of my favourite actors. I just love the way that he nails every character he plays. He shows every emotion, and most importantly, he can show vulnerability, as I described in the previous episode on Monday, when he was begging for his life. Every particle of his body was showing just uncontrollable fear. You could see it in his eyes. And in this film also he shows vulnerability, which shows to the audience that even if your character, the person, is cruel, hard-hearted and merciless, there is still that essence of humanity, even if it is buried deep down. I really, really like Jude Law too, but I haven't seen him in many other films, and certainly not in a role like this. I've only really seen him in The Holiday, which I absolutely adore, and as Dumbledore in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them in the sequels, and I loved him in that as well. But he can play vulnerability, and he really shows it in this film. I've seen it. I haven't actually watched the film, but I have watched quite a few clips, and yeah, he shows the fear and the sheer terror of thinking I'm going to die. So yeah, pretty fantastic. So he also shows a wide range of other emotions, including anger and an impression of being completely unhinged when he returns for revenge. As I said, I have not been able to watch this film all the way through, but from the clips I've seen, the setting for most of the interactions are in Andrew's high-tech mansion, which is so cold, dark and clinical, and also very masculine. Michael Caine and Jude Law interacted with each other in such a way that you could see the hate and contempt between them. And they both showed fear and losing a sense of reason really well. Though the film was not as successful as the 1972 Sleuth, the performances of both actors were very powerful, with the ability to shock the audience and make them feel uncomfortable. So I'm going to leave it there. And as always, look after yourselves and have a great weekend. And I will be back again week after next for another video on Monday. I am thinking of doing drama through the ages, so maybe starting 100 years ago and working sort of maybe talking about the silent movies to start with. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do some research on it and see if I can come up with something, and maybe do like through the decades up to the present day. That would keep me going for a bit, and I think I would find that very interesting, and I hope that you will as well. Please feel free to share this video if you think anybody else would enjoy it. I am learning, but I think it's really, really helpful for me as an actor in my amateur dramatics. It really gives me an insight into different actors and how films work, how plays work. So I am learning all the time, and I'm absolutely loving it. And I know I'm improving because I feel much more confident than I did when I first started this podcast about 9 months ago. It was back in January. So thank you very much for watching me, and I will return for another podcast, another episode very, very soon. Look after yourselves. See you again soon. Bye-bye.